10,000 feet. That's where I'm at right now, and I've been to higher altitudes before but never reached to such altitude in this much comfort because I am riding the all-new BMW R1300 GS, the replacement to the R1250 GS. And this bike is all new because it has got 90% newer components. A new engine, a new chassis, new suspension, and a lot of electronics as well. This bike will blow your mind. In fact, this bike has made me go breathless. That's the reason I'm just going to have a puff of oxygen right now. Altitude can make you sick, but this bike is absolutely phenomenal. We're going to be starting with the walk around of this amazing adventure motorcycle from BMW. Let's start with the walk around of this motorcycle. So it gets a flip key and there are two buttons here as well, but everything is electric. So all you have to do is keep the key in this pocket and the motorcycle will automatically unlock. However, it will not do it all the time. You have to shake the key at times because it deactivates the battery to elongate the battery life as well. I don't like the headlight design. I love the design of the older bikes, asymmetrical headlight. It has got up to 47 LEDs. It says BMW LED right there. 4 LED DRLs, which obviously will remind you of Porsche, but it gets the option of cornering lights as well, which is fantastic. And BMW's trademarked suspension at the front. The size of the telescopic forks have increased from 37mm to 45mm. Two radiators there, and that is the suspension which is linked to the telescopic forks that actually does the damping and also the spring rate and all those things. So this way the suspension at the front is very advanced. Because of all this complexity, it actually rides and handles a lot better. Because look at it, they call it the tele lever or something of that sort. The tire size at the front happens to be 120/70/17, 310mm dual disc, BMW brake calipers, which are actually Brembo brake calipers, golden colored spoke rims, which are absolutely fantastic, and obviously it says R1300 GS right there. In fact, the beak is slightly smaller now. The earlier beak was a lot more aggressive. It says BMW here. The indicator placement is on the handguard at the front, and the mirrors are slightly better positioned now because the bike is more compact. It's more aero efficient right now, firstly, and secondly, it's more compact. In fact, weight has reduced by 12 kgs, which is a lot. So it gets an all new chassis. At the front side of the chassis, it's actually made of steel, and at the rear subframe is actually made of aluminum die cast. The result is 1.5 kgs lighter. They've also shifted the gearbox from behind the engine to below the engine, resulting in a weight saving of 6.5 kgs. And that's not all. They've also reduced the weight of the engine by 1.5 kgs. No, 3.9 kgs is the reduction of the engine. So yeah, the overall result is 12 kgs lesser. In fact, 100 grams reduction is because of lithium-ion battery being used here. Seat height is 870mm on the GS Trophy. Otherwise, standard seat height is 850mm. You can go all the way lower to 800mm for the seat height. So the Boxer engine has been revised. It's an all-new engine and it's more compact right now. Along with being compact, it's more symmetrical. Usually Boxer engines are inherently offset, but here the weight distribution is a lot better. And because of the better packaging of the gearbox, the engine is more compact, weight distribution is better, and the swing arm is slightly longer. It's a single side swing arm. The swing arm is on the other side. Obviously, the seat is very comfortable. This extends all the way to the tank, which is amazing. In fact, there's some storage space here. You can keep the key right here. And there's a USB-A charging socket inside as well. You can keep your phone here as well, which is nice. The tank is smaller by 1 liter at 19 liters. In fact, here is a 12-volt charging socket or something of that sort, because you can connect it to BMW's accessory, which is for navigation, which does not use MapMyIndia. It's BMW's own. So the mount is right here, which actually can be removed because the key goes in here and it actually does that as well. Handguards look really nice. Quality is just amazing of this motorcycle. So there are multiple suspension options. I'll talk about it when riding this motorcycle, obviously. And you can just see the attention to detail. In fact, the horn is placed somewhere there. Yeah, the bike looks absolutely phenomenal, to say the least. What a beautiful looking motorcycle. Rear tire size 170/60/17. The exhaust seems to be compact. You can get Akrapovic exhaust as an option. Lot of optional bits. It gets a main stand. Putting it on the main stand can be quite a bit of a problem. It still weighs 237 kgs. Yeah, it is still quite heavy. But there's another trick which I'll talk about when riding this motorcycle. Tires are obviously road centric. Hazard lights are on at the moment. So the lights actually for the brake are right inside. So the rear isn't that impressive somehow. I really like how they have done this, which is to power the luggage. So you have to remove that, and there are mounts for the luggage as well. Pillion seat doesn't seem to be very comfortable. Luggage mounts here and there. Foot pegs have rubber, which you can remove because there's a claw right there as well. Single-sided swing arm. This is a shaft drive, obviously. Rear disc size is 285 mm, and the attention to detail of this boxer engine is just amazing. Blows your mind every time you look at it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on the motorcycle. I press this button and there it turns on, and obviously it says BMW Motorrad, make life a ride, and the master cylinder is very nicely done. So you can do a lot of things here because obviously this menu is fully loaded. So if I get into this setting, my vehicle, I can go through details about my vehicle. I can obviously go on to the on-road computer, on-board, not road, trip computer, tire pressure monitor, service requirements and all those things. And you can just do it by browsing through this, which is fantastic, very nicely done. So you're going to come into the menu and I get into sport. When I get into sport now, it actually changes the cluster mode, which is a little sportier one. So you're going to come out of that as well. And then again, I'm going to get into the menu part of things. So there's navigation, there's media, there is telephone, and all those settings are there because this has obviously Bluetooth connectivity. This is a 6.5-inch full color TFT display, which is phenomenal in terms of quality, similar to what it was before. And they've also added this clamp here for the suspension. So a slight change there. This is obviously for cruise control. This is for the headlight control. Horn is really loud. This is for the indicators. This is for the menu, and they've added a new button known as the sandwich button in India or hamburger button abroad in Germany, because with this you can actually get into a shortcut where you can program the heating, for the heated grips. And trust me, there are 3 settings and it can become really boiling hot. Then you can adjust the windscreen as well, and I'm just going to do that right now. So I'm just going to take the windscreen all the way up. Electric adjust for the windscreen, which is absolutely fantastic, phenomenal stuff. And then you can obviously dynamic traction control and damping settings can be changed as well, which is also quite cool. So a lot of stuff can be done right here, which is something which makes it easy to do it on the go thanks to this button, which has been added obviously. Meanwhile, I'm just going to turn off the motorcycle. There I press it, and there this thing will actually go back down as well. There's a button for mode, and this is obviously for the engine start and kill. Obviously this is mode for the ride mode. There are 4 ride modes, but then there are so many options on this motorcycle which will absolutely blow your mind. The bike looks quite compact now. It's narrower, which means easier to stand when you're riding off-road and easier to ride as well. It gives you a better view of what's behind as well. So a lot of these things have actually improved this motorcycle. But how is it to ride? Before that, let me actually turn on the motorcycle. And you know what happens? Like I was telling you about this key now, it will automatically disconnect to save battery. You have to shake it a bit. Shake it a bit. I'm just going to keep the key right here inside. We're going to turn on the motorcycle and roast life. That is the shift light. Oh my god, this boxer engine is very smooth. Supremely smooth. Gets a main stand, but you really can't put it on the main stand because of the weight of this motorcycle. This is one of the best adventure motorcycles. So we're going to start riding right away because trust me, it looks absolutely amazing. Just look at it, so purposeful. Let's go. Alright, let's start riding this motorcycle, and we are starting off by seeing the espresso, so mood is spoiled. So anyways, we are starting off in the city, and let me tell you that this motorcycle has a good low end punch. It feels quite smooth lower down. So it's actually good for riding in the city because rideability is amazing. There's a lot of torque available. So this is a boxer engine. This is BMW's most powerful boxer engine. In fact, this is 1300cc. So displacement has been increased by increasing the bore and decreasing the stroke here. I think the first 2 gears are shorter when compared to the 1250. Meanwhile, the 6th gear is taller. I have not gone beyond 4th gear today because we're riding around the ghats now. So I am in 1 to 3 only. And being a big capacity motorcycle, in lower gears also now it does higher speeds. Oh my god, it absolutely juts ahead. So I'm just going to change the riding mode here. There's road, there's dynamic pro, and obviously there are 4 ride modes. So there's enduro, rain, road and dynamic pro. I think there's a new ride mode here. Meanwhile, you can get 7 ride modes if you opt for the pro package for the ride mode. So there is 3 more which lets you alter a few more things as well. So that has also changed. In dynamic pro, the traction control system is a bit less intervening as well, and the first 3 gears are not the smoothest in terms of shifts, unfortunately, but then it gets smoother. How am I saying that? I'm not even going into 4th gear. What a fluffer I'm becoming. Jokes aside, in dynamic pro it definitely feels better, and I don't know where we are going, but trust me, the bike does not feel its weight at all. 237 kgs does not feel 237 kgs at all. 12 kgs lighter of course now, which is a good thing,
but still it is actually a very nimble and agile motorcycle. And what a view around, oh my goodness, that is so amazing. We are in first gear, and if you pull it hard, not trust me, this motorcycle is always ready to wheelie. There is so much grunt available. So power is actually increased by 9 horsepower, 145 horsepower here. Torque has increased by 6 Newton meters to 149 Newton meters here, which is very powerful. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, I think around 4.5 seconds. But it's not about the outright acceleration. It is actually about the way this engine pulls, and that's largely because this motorcycle has 130 Newton meters of torque available for large part of the rev range. So redline comes in at the same 9000 RPM as before. It really pulls strongly. It's actually quite refined a motorcycle. It is the smoothest twin motorcycle I have ridden, and I can feel a bit of buzzing on my bum. So yes, a little bit of buzzing on the foot pegs is also there higher up in the rev range. Yeah, and now it's time to go. So on the seat also a little bit of buzzing is there. 9000 RPM redline is good, but it's the mid-range which is the strongest part of this motor. It feels amazing in the mid-range. It feels absolutely phenomenal to ride in the mid-range, because there is where the grunt is. It feels really punchy and peppy in the mid-range. Goes really nice and smoothly. You can actually ride in a higher gear as well, so that's not an issue at all. Top speed 235 kilometers per hour. So this boxer engine is smoother now. So how have they smoothened the engine? Well, simply by I have stalled the motorcycle almost, and off we go. People are looking at me for stalling, but it happened. I didn't stall the motorcycle, I went to neutral. So yeah, like I was telling you, the gearbox is not the smoothest as such. The gearbox can be slightly smoother still, so at times that also happens. That said, it's a wonderful motorcycle to ride. Very light, very nimble, quite agile. Engine is very punchy. Obviously now it's very powerful as well. In fact, handling is just amazing. They have definitely improved the handling of this motorcycle. Feels super duper nice to ride. First gear 89 kilometers per hour. In second is going past 100 kilometers per hour effortlessly. No effort needed whatsoever. So this boxer engine is now more symmetrical, which means that it doesn't lean to one side, which means that it is better in terms of centralizing the mass of this motorcycle, and that's why it feels so much better to ride. Firstly, they have actually reduced the weight now and centralized the mass. Feels narrower, which makes it much easier and better to ride this motorcycle. No two ways about it. This motorcycle, and I kid you not, it actually rides like a super bike around the corners. That's how nimble and agile it is. But there are way too many electronics. Oopsie doopsie doo. Yeah, the ride is good, but big bumps obviously can be felt. So there are two modes for the suspension here. One is dynamic, one is road. Dynamic is obviously more sporty. Road is not as sporty, but a little bit more forgiving as well. So in terms of suspension options, there are 4 suspension options. So the base suspension is, oh my god, we are going all over the place. So the base suspension happens to be manually adjustable, which is not offered in India, thankfully. And then they have something known as DSA, dynamic suspension adjustment. Earlier it was the ESA, electronic suspension adjustment. The dynamic suspension adjustment, the suspension adjustment happens for both preload and damping, both at the front as well as the rear. And whoops, yeah. What difference does it make? Well, it makes a world of a difference. For starters, this one has a dynamic suspension adjustment, which is the second level of this suspension. So electronic suspension obviously. However, beyond this, there is the ride height control suspension, wherein the motorcycle will drop its ride height by 30 mm below 30 kilometers per hour and increase it by 30 mm above 30 kilometers per hour. And using that, you can also do something very crazy, which is basically assistance to put it on the main stand. Now the bike is heavy, so what this bike does is it uses the pump, a pump which actually, okay, big bump, let's stand and go. Yeah, so the pump will actually raise the rear suspension first and then raise the front suspension while you are trying to put the bike on main stand, helping it glide onto the main stand very effortlessly. Yeah, very little effort is required to do that. This guy is riding in the center only. So that's also there, but there's only one pump, not two, because for better weight reduction they've done that. There's something known as Sport DSA, which increases the ride height by approximately 20 mm. So if you want to ride off-road, well, that is the one which you should opt for. Depending on the tires, obviously makes a huge difference in the way this motorcycle rides. Now these are more road-centric tires. Feeling a little bit too bouncy here. I'm very comfortable on this motorcycle. I can ride long without any issue. I'm getting a very nice view of what's behind as well. Oh my god, the engine was nice. It's actually a very smooth engine. Sounds nice as well. So you can get heated seats as well. Yeah, that option is there. Heated seats for both the rider as well as the pillion, which is a nice feature to have. And you can just tip it into a corner effortlessly because it simply goes. Yeah, the weight and the balance and the way the mass has been centralized is just phenomenal here. It doesn't feel like an adventure motorcycle. It feels much more sportier in that regard. Obviously more hardcore versions will come which are more adventure oriented. But this bike weighs 237 kgs. Like I was telling you, doesn't feel that weight at all. Weight reduction is a good thing always. The punch and the pull, very, very, very strong here. Doesn't hesitate at all. Oh my god, bad patch on the road. Yeah, you can feel a bit of that. There's no denying the fact. This engine is running a very high compression ratio. In fact, the compression ratio is more than the S1000 RR as well, which means that it needs the best fuel to extract all that power. Now obviously I am high up in terms of altitude, which means that this motorcycle definitely is not giving all the power because it obviously cannot breathe as well on higher altitude. But trust me on this, you will never ever complain about lack of grunt here because there's so much grunt. And I think it's starting to rain right now. Oh no, don't tell me that it's going to rain. I can feel a few drops right now. So what you're going to do, you're going to come to the menu button. No, there is nothing which will control the rain. And here we're going to activate the sport display, which is also quite good. It tells me what is the traction control level, tells me what is the brake level and all that as well. It can rain and snow anytime in this location. Red line at 9000 rpm is good, but right now this motorcycle hasn't done its first service. Around 5000 rpm, it feels a bit abrupt. Maybe it's the shift cam kicking in. However, this is an all-round motorcycle. Amazing ride for the most part. Handling is good for a bike of this category. Performance is good. Fuel efficiency, approximately 15 kilometers per liter is the claim number, but in the real world expect somewhere between 10 to 12 kilometers per liter, especially if you drive like me, which is only in lower gears. Not the best way to ride a motorcycle. But then I was like, let's listen to the sound. Gearbox is smooth, yeah. And you know what, you can do clutchless shifts at any time because there's a quick shifter and it has slipper clutch. It has so many electronics, I can't keep a tab of it. It has got, I think, hill ascent control and all those things are also there. Plenty of it. In fact, the option 719 also gets ADAS. Yeah, radar based ADAS. Isn't that really crazy? What does it have? Forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking only to a limit, because automatic emergency braking, oh my god, my moved all over the place. So automatic emergency braking will not make the bike come to a halt completely. It will give you a big jolt, so you wake up and you apply brakes yourself, and it will obviously not catch stationary objects. Even the adaptive cruise control won't do that. So it has got adaptive cruise control, it has got blind view monitor. So a lot of ADAS systems in this motorcycle, which are obviously in the higher variant, and then option, a lot of optional bits as well. So in terms of the ride height, like I was telling you, 850 is standard, and whoopsie-doo, it feels nice to actually fly through this tree area because bike feels stupendous. The engine is really the hero here. Now it doesn't really seem to tilt on one side, and this boxer engine kind of feels like a hindrance when I try to move my leg because obviously it's jutting out all over the place. But somehow it still feels compact when compared to before. Doggy. Brakes are amazing, huh? Super bite, like really very strong, the braking system on this motorcycle. It stops dead in its track. Tires have good grip too. So yeah, this is a bike which feels very comfortable. We're just going to change the mode to just road mode right now. Basically in rain mode now it will cut power, obviously the same thing which was there on the older GS as well. So not much of a change in that regard. Seat is actually very, very, very comfortable. This is a motorcycle for touring for sure. Jumpy. Road has got quite bad right now. I mean, it's going to get worse for sure. Little pebbles on the road, not an issue for this bike because obviously it can glide over the worst of road without much hesitation. Only thing is, I need to figure out myself by actually standing while going through such a terrain because it can get quite uncomfortable for me. Some construction is happening here, and that's the reason why the road is in such a mess. But hey, not an issue for this bike because yeah, it can do all this without much hesitation. Ground clearance seems ample enough. So yeah, it will definitely not touch anything is what I feel. Ooh. Ow. Stand and just go is the way to actually tackle all this, avoiding the big stones as much as possible. Onto the road and off we go. It should have an off-road mode na, with even more comfortable suspension if possible. Yeah. Too much on the road, too many pebbles. I hate such kind of roads, mainly because I feel very uncomfortable. I mean, the bike can do all this, but I feel super uncomfortable. Yeah. Show me tarmac, and off we go. Actually, the handlebar is quite far ahead now, so you really have to stretch while riding over such a terrain. Oh my god, more bad roads. I hate this. Oh. BMW has intentionally got us on this route just so that we get to experience the suspension of this motorcycle and also have our move all over the place. Ow! Fluff! That was quite a hit on the front. Anyways, I'm selling this motorcycle even though it doesn't belong to me. Sparingly used motorcycle, single owner, never ridden in bad situations. You want one? This bike for the most part is an automatic because all I'm doing is riding it in second gear only. 125 it does in second, which is crazy na. More bad roads. Woo. I think a stone hit my left foot right now. You know, every time I put my foot down na, I can feel the boxer engine on my knee or something of that sort. Oh my god, this is crazy, huh? I can see light at the end of the tunnel. Some smooth tarmac ahead. I don't know how long that will last. Okay, let's get out of this menu. There we have the better cluster mode. Whoa. This doesn't seem to end only, huh? It's just ongoing. No respite. That is what you wait for, yeah. But it's not all that smooth either, because obviously there are a lot of small stones on the road. I don't know how long they will take to construct this road, but once it's done, I think it will be absolutely fantastic. Hopefully the worst of the roads is over, which means that we can give beans to this motorcycle. It pulls really strongly in third as well, no hesitation at all. The way it pulls, just mind-blowing, to say the least. Okay, a little bumpy, but still. Whoa! ABS Pro, what it exactly does is, it works like CBS or combined braking system or link braking system. If you apply the front brakes, now it will apply the rear brakes as well. I think this was there on the older bike, but now in this newer bike, they have something like the rear brake also automatically applies the front brakes. Horn is okay, but it's not effective because people in Innova don't move anyways. So when you apply the rear brake, it will also apply the front brake, but you don't want the front brake to be applied all the time, especially if you're taking a tight turn. So this is very dynamic. It understands the speed and accordingly alters. Yeah, it will alter the brake force, and that's how it works. Every time I sit on a motorcycle now, a powerful one, I immediately become Santa Claus. I don't even understand why, but yeah, that's how it works. Jimny. Ladakh is full of Jimnys, huh? BMW has not revealed the pricing. However, I feel that BMW will definitely start the price. Oh, what a bump. BMW will start the price upwards of rupees 25 lakhs for the base variant, going above 30 lakhs for the top end variant on road Mumbai, obviously, making it an expensive motorcycle, but a very feature loaded one, so you're not going to complain much in that regard. That is the place we're going, Stoke Palace. Finally, we have reached the destination, which means it's time to park and give a verdict on this beautiful BMW motorcycle. I loved the ride, absolutely loved it, and I'm not even tired. That's the funny thing, that's the best thing. And again, whenever I put my foot down, I hit this thing. Yeah, this is very problematic for a boxer engine. Yeah, boxer engine only has this issue.
It's too cold, but the bike is super hot. This motorcycle is supremely impressive. BMW has really pushed the boundaries of engineering with the R1300 GS. There was nothing wrong with the R1250 GS, but BMW is like, let's move the goalpost further ahead, and they've managed to do just that. It's extremely comfortable, superb to ride, handling is good, the engine is one of the best twin-cylinder engines I have experienced in my life, and there's so many electronics as well, which work fantastically well, but that can get a bit complicated too. However, the motorcycle is going to be expensive, upkeep will be expensive, but if you want a fantastic adventure motorcycle, sorry about that, which does not compromise on anything at all, then the R1300 GS is really hard to beat. I love this bike, but I feel it's just too powerful and too complex for Indian road conditions. If you like this video, make sure to give the thumbs up. That's the like button. See, the energy is coming now. I'll see you in the next video real soon. Bye bye.